good evening, Broncos country. I can't even think right now. I'm so upset. You're joined by your host, Joe Pro, myself, and we got Albert, the Mile High Dutchie, coming in to help me wrap this game up and talk about this very, very disappointing loss. So, Albert, what are your initial thoughts?
Well, initial thoughts, Colts defense is very good. So the Gilmore is one that we have to deal with, and we couldn't deal with, and yeah, our offense couldn't do it. And I think the call for the last play was horrendous. I would have kicked a field goal and see if our defense can take it back. But yeah, I'm not Hackett, so
Yeah. My initial thoughts on this were that it was definitely a game plagued by injury on both sides of the ball. But this was a game that should have been won. Last call of the game was a gutsy call by Hackett. I think it was more of a prove himself type move because his pride kind of got in the way from the fan base. Kind of asking him, why didn't you go for it on 4th and 1? And I think that he got a little bit too into his own head there. I don't know if it was necessarily the right call. We could have just kept the game going a little bit, and a tie is better than a loss, but we have another L in the column, so we're going to have to see what's going on from this point forward. What were some of the things that you liked about the game?
Well, our defense was tremendous. They were good against the run. They did not give up really big plays. I think that was really good. Even although we were injury marred there, I didn't see Jewell for the second half at all. I think he was missed there, especially against the run in the second half. Then Browning got hurt. Nick Bonito. It's that is also the luck that the Broncos have. A lot of key players are getting injured.
Yeah, definitely. We saw some major injuries there with Nick Bonito going out, Bowles going out, some of the other individuals on the Browning going out. Browning was completely being that run stopper and getting to the quarterback. A lot of tackles for losses from him from his end of the ball, and I think that really did hurt us in the long run. We've got a comment coming in here from Kenny. Coach lost another game. I think the worst call was throwing the ball in the end zone to number 4 receiver when 4, yes, would have won the game. No doubt about that, Kenny. Thanks for joining us. Everybody that's tuning in right now, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. But no, I think Kenny's right. I think that we kind of made a bad decision. Russ rolled out a little bit, but he stepped back up into the pocket, and they lost that game. We had an open receiver down there.
Yeah, and Russell, I would have given the least to Gordon the shot. He could have gotten that 1 yard and play another 4 downs. So
yeah,
even if we don't make it into the end zone, give it to Gordon or do a quarterback sneak, run it in for the first yard.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely had a running game going in the second half. Finally, something that we've been talking about through the pregame and the postgame, that we were looking for our running game to get after it and start making some moves. And Boone and Gordon were having some holes, and they were able to get it up the middle and out to the ends, and they were making moves. So I don't understand why we kind of abandoned the run on that last play. Yeah, on the 3rd down, we didn't do great on that run, but hey, that happens from time to time, and I think we should have trusted Gordon enough to get through the hole and get us the 1 yard, or like you said, get Russ up in the middle there and just try to sneak for that 1 yard.
Exactly. So I don't get it, but at least we showed that that we can do run the ball, and I think that is something that is important. We showed that we can do it, and so hopefully they will use it a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that Kenny had another good comment here saying, don't force it in the end zone there. We didn't need to go for the end zone right there.
Exactly.
We had 1 yard, do another set of 4 downs, just like you're saying, Albert. Go after that 1 yard and make it happen. Make it happen. Give yourselves a chance. Plenty of time left on the clock. We didn't need to do that.
Exactly, and you're 1 yard closer, and then instead of 6-7 yards to the end zone, you only have 5 left. So yeah, but that's what we are. We are how do you call it? Couches on the coach, coaches on the couch. So
yeah, definitely see that.
So, but it is also different. There's a lot of pressure on Hackett, and I think he felt the pressure this time, but I think that Gordon did a pretty dang good job.
Yeah. No, he came back and he definitely proved himself, and that he was still able to carry the ball and keep his head up. Even after having a pretty bad week last week, he was able to come back in and keep his head up and act like a true professional. And I appreciated that for him.
Yeah, and I think the weakest link that we have in offense is our right side. Fleming, Glasgow, and Cushenberry in the center. They are acting like a sieve, so we need changes there. I think that is what.
I was surprised not to see Billy Turner out there this evening. We were all pretty hyped up that he was going to be active for the game, and again, no playtime for Turner, and that's the person that we signed for some big money to come in and do something, and he didn't do it. He's not coming in. I don't understand what's going on. So I think that's something that we definitely need to shore up for next week. Got this little half week bye, but I don't think it's time to take off. I think it's time to get back in there and get back in the film room and really study what they made, what mistakes they made.
Yeah, and maybe change it up. Put Glasgow in the center. Minus is coming back. And then if Minus is back, then Fleming is better. Glasgow is better because Minus is the bully that we need, and we don't have one right now.
Yeah, Cushenberry is not living up to his draft pick and the things that he should be doing. Punching holes in the center there and making sure that Russ stays upright. Russ took a few sacks that he shouldn't have taken this game, and I think that is going to be a big thing. Russ needs to stay upright for him to be able to make plays, and that did not happen this evening.
Yeah, and McManus, I think he needs a pay cut too. How can you miss a 33-yarder?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough loss at home in overtime. If you're just joining us, thank you again. Make sure you subscribe to the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. We appreciate all of your all's support. This is definitely a disappointing loss for us again this week. Now we're dropping it down to 2-3. We're falling behind in the standings, and got another divisional game going on this weekend with Kansas City and Las Vegas. So, Kansas City loses that game. Las Vegas is tied with us, and we're down at the bottom because we lost to Las Vegas. Kansas City wins that game. They're just starting to run away with the division. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation in that game. And, we got a lot of stuff that we need to progress forward into this division. We have a tough division, and we can't give up games like this. And I think that lately we've been playing down to our opponents. A team like Indianapolis should have been a game where we came in and we should have been able to, come in, dominate, and what we were talking about, kind of that rebound game. And we did not see that.
No, and I don't blame everything on Hackett. Like I said, the Colts defense was very good. But at times our offense showed some pretty nice attacks. I know it takes time to gel, and I think now they have, 10 days to practice a little bit more, and hopefully they can get it together.
Yeah, I mean, that's all we can really hope for. What's the biggest thing that you want to see for the next game?
Next game, I would really want to see a change in the offensive line. Change it up. Probably Bowles is going to be out maybe for a longer time, it looks like. And hey, Keith. And change up the O-line so that we can protect Russ better and then run it better. I think that's where our weakness is, because we don't run it enough.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's those are some great points, and that, shoring up that offensive line is going to be the biggest thing that we need to do right now. Keith, welcome in. Happy to have you join us for the post game. Not happy about the outcome.
Yeah, man. I sorry for the late addition jumping in here, man. I don't know what you guys all got into, but I think the biggest frustration for me is hero ball. That's the only way I got to say it. It looks like hero ball. We go out there, we have a 9-6 win, all wrapped up. All we have to do is run the ball. No, we're playing hero ball. We're going for the end zone. We throw a bad pass by Russell Wilson, threw it behind the receiver, Tyree Cleveland. Gilmore picks it off, gives the Colts a chance. Colts take that chance. They turn it into a tie game, go into overtime once again. 4th and 1. We could go ahead and we could tie it all up at 12 apiece. No, we're going hero ball. We're going for a touchdown. It's really frustrating. I know a lot of people don't really appreciate Brandon Staley as a coach, and what he does down for the Chargers, and it's starting to feel that exact same way to me, man. I'm very frustrated after this game.
So, and we talked about it too. Why not go for the 1 yard and have for another set of 4 downs? Why not do that instead of what they were doing?
Yeah, I mean, you're in that condensed area. You have that small amount of space. Everyone talks about how difficult it is to pass the ball in that particular situation. Everyone was, the broadcast was saying, roll out Russell, give him an opportunity, give him a chance to get it with his legs as well. I mean, there's lots. I mean, you could have still had a pass drawn up, but if Russell can take off and pick up that 1.5 yards needed to get the first down, at least that's a fairly better play call. Not with the way the Russ was passing tonight. I didn't see a reason to be throwing it on 4th and 1 to try to win it in overtime.
Yeah, we got Michelle in here. She says that I don't think that's what Russ wanted to do with that last play. Could be wrong, but he looked like he was questioning what he was being told to do. And we're not seeing those conversations down on the field, but I definitely have seen some different things between Nate and Russ, and I don't know if they're seeing eye to eye on everything, and I think that's part of the reason why Russ has kind of been leashed up a little bit. I don't think he's not playing the way we're expecting Russell Wilson to come in and play. So, Keith, what are your thoughts on that? Are you thinking that there's, some animosity between the two of them, or do you think that, is it just, melding to this new offense for him, or what do you think the issue is with Russ himself?
Boy, I'm telling you, I think this coaching staff and Russell Wilson better get on the same page here pretty quick, because Russell's a $45 million man that's came into town. Coach Hackett is not the pick of this ownership group at all. And quite honestly, with the frustration that we're seeing in this offense, Russ is going to win out. Russ is going to win out in this. I guarantee it. If he wants a change in coaching, there'll be a change in coaching. So, man, I'm telling you, I really had higher expectations of what this offense could look like. So far, they haven't been able to put it together. They got one more game before they really hit their bye week, I guess is the best way to put it. So, man, they better get on it, man.
So, and here's the thing, too. There is always conflict between a head coach and a quarterback of Russell caliber, especially if it is a young head coach. There is to be. Between Belichick and Brady, there was always conflict as well. They were not always on page too, and I think that's healthy too. But sometimes the quarterback, if he has a gut reaction or a gut feeling that he should do, maybe he should overstep. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the frustrating thing for me too is just again that Russell Wilson did not look good tonight. You know, this was an opportunity against a defense, in my opinion, to step up and look good. You know, so when a lot of people are saying, "Hey, Russell needs to go ahead and he needs to take over this game. He needs to do it." You know, push Hackett to the side and just do it himself. Well, man, some of those decisions he was making obviously were not great decisions. So I don't know if that's the answer either.
No, I agree with you. You know, I think that, you know, Russ can't go out there and try to play Maverick and play by his own rules either. He has to go out there and he has to go with the play system, and he has to kind of, you know, understand what the coaching staff is trying to do. You know, you brought Rosberg in to sit there and try to help with these game time decisions. And, you know, if you look at the analytics, I'm sure that analytics don't show, you know, go for it in 4th and 1 and shotgun. You know, the analytics are probably much higher for, you know, what Matt is saying here. You know, put your quarterback under center and try to punch it up the middle with the quarterback, or try to punch it up there with one of the running backs in I formation.
Yeah, exactly. And this shows also again that Russell Wilson is a team player, and he does what the team thinks is best for them, and not always put his own mind to it. And I think that shows character in Russell Wilson too, even although it is very frustrating for him, because you can see it. At some point it was very frustrating. You could see that. Mm-hmm. And even with the block that he did against the one person with the run back, you could see it. He was frustrated.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Okay, I was going to say, so, you know, Keith, you brought up a great point with Walton, the Walton Penner group there. Do you see a coaching change after maybe the next game, or you know, do we see anything crazy going on? Because it definitely wasn't Walton Penner group's coaching hire, you know, like you said.
No, I don't think it. I mean, there's no reason to do it so early in the season or anything like that. It's not like we have, you know, a defensive coordinator or an offensive coordinator who has all this experience and is just going to step in. You know, we're lacking in that position. I said this from the very beginning. We've kind of made our bed. We need to lie in it when it comes to some of these coaching decisions that we made before this ownership group came in. That being said, you know, come the end of the year, if this season doesn't turn around, if things don't get on page, I could see it happening, even like a week 14, week 15 type of release, just to get it ahead on some of maybe the coaching possibilities out there. As everyone says, you know, Sean Payton is out there talking about wanting the job. You know, never know.
Yeah,
Sean Payton would be a good one though, because you see what he did with Narlins. And so yeah. But yeah, I still believe in Hackett. He needs to grow. You cannot be a head coach in just one year. It takes time. Look at Sean McVay. It took him 2 years.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I just think there's been more flashes from just about any other team. You know, let's face it, this team has looked absolutely flat as far as an offense is concerned. Flat. I mean, there's been nothing. I mean, again, Cortland Sutton maybe had some shining moments throughout the first few games now. Javonte Williams had some shining moments. And outside of that, man, it's been rough. You know, Matt says here that we need to relieve him of his play calling duties. But at the same time, I don't know who you hand this to. Do you just hand it to Outen, hoping that that's a better situation, and just cross your fingers? Because it's not like he has a whole lot of experience either. I think if there's a change like that, it happens again, probably in a week or two. I think we suffer through this, you know, as we head off and play the Chargers.
Yeah, that's a great point that you're bringing up there, Keith. We got a divisional game coming up next, and you know, just like I was telling Albert a little bit ago, like this weekend is going to be tough as it is because we got the Raiders and the Chiefs playing each other, and so that's a divisional game that is kind of a lose-lose situation for us. Either Kansas City gets ahead and they start they're pulling away from us in the division, or we're down at the bottom with the Raiders being in last place because we'll both be 2 and 3 at that point. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation in that circumstance. Yeah, it'd be nice because we don't see Kansas City running away with it, but at the same time, like, you don't know what the Chargers are going to do this weekend either, and we have to get ready for them next week. Anytime we play anybody in the division, it's going to be a dogfight. And tonight's game was two puppies playing each other because both teams were not making any type of offensive moves, and it was embarrassing to be on a primetime game, and even seeing our fans walk out in the middle of the game or right at the end before
of regulation
started. Yeah.
No, I was just saying at the end of regulation, you're absolutely right. I mean, it says a lot about this Broncos fan base, how they feel about this team, where it's been through 4 or 5 games, and just their attitude. I know a lot of people are. Ian, he was at the game when he was on our show on the pregame show, but he said, I mean, maybe it's because school and because of work week. No, I mean, if it's overtime Elway years, I don't care. That place was rocking and packed until the very bitter end. It's about where we think this team is at, where it's heading, and where it's going. It does not look good. And I've been the guy speaking patience, but again, the coaching errors are just off the charts. You know what I mean? This was a terrible, terrible night for the coaching staff. I thought they might have had it back on track after they brought in a special assistant, but man, didn't show up tonight.
Yeah.
But here's this thing too. I saw a couple of holding calls that done by the Colts that didn't get the whistle for, and one of them was in the end zone against Cortland Sutton. So at some point, the luck has to turn our way too. And right now, we are not enforcing it.
I will say, though, at the beginning of the game, though, I thought we were getting calls left and right that we didn't even deserve, Albert. There was the thing. We honestly, I was like thinking, man, we must have paid a little bit of money towards these refs because they were looking like they were favoring the Broncos early in this game. There was, there was holding calls that weren't holding calls and the whole nine. So, I can't. I would love to be able to excuse it for like the refs, got involved and made a play in this game. No, this is just awful. And like I said, probably the worst game that Russell has played that I've seen, man. Even through all these other low-scoring affairs.
But I have seen one really good thing, though. It takes 2 men to catch a ball.
They didn't fought themselves out of a catch there for a second. I was a little bit worried, man.
Yeah, almost knocked each other out going helmet to helmet like that. That was pretty crazy.
I will say this though. I mean, literally, if Russell Wilson went down, is there a team that's been more decimated in the entire NFL than the Denver Broncos? I mean, all the injuries we racked up tonight on top of all the ones that we already had, and geez, we were just thinking we get this game out of the way, we get kind of a mini bye week, we'll come back all healthy. Well, goodness gracious, all we did is rack up injuries left, right, and otherwise. The reason I bring up Russell Wilson going down is because everyone looks at that QB and goes, oh my gosh, now that team is decimated. But that's literally about the only position you can point at on this team that hasn't had a major injury. And it's obviously hurting us as well. I'll give them that much. Injuries are somewhat of an excuse. The play calling that still has to be good, but the injuries are still a little bit of an excuse for the performance so bad.
Yeah, and to cap that right there, Keith, is you did see Russ get looked at, and you saw him. After that one drive, he was getting looked at for a head injury because he did take a helmet to helmet hit, and then I was like, okay, so we're bringing in Brett Rippon,
gosh.
We're gonna be bringing in Brett Rippon. That's what the answer is behind Russ right now, and that's you're paying $200 something million to Russell Wilson to be injured, and that's not where we need to be right now. So we need to figure that out real quick, fast, and in a hurry, to get our lines shored up, like Albert was saying earlier, and to get this play calling down, because we're wasting years of Russell's prime game. He doesn't have. He's a little bit older in the quarterback era or in the quarterback room, and so we need to get him moving along so that we can see success with Russell Wilson under center.
100%.
And by the way, the one ball from Beck in the goal line, he looked away from the ball too quick. If he would have been focusing on the ball, that would not have been an incomplete.
Yeah, it's little mistakes here and there. It's all those coaching mistakes that I'm telling you about, man. And like I said, when I came on at halftime, I thought this was going to have to be an all-hands week, because we need to talk about ball security at some point. These guys aren't catching well. They're not looking the ball into their hands before they turn upfield. Again, Montrell Washington with almost a turnover right at halftime. Melvin Gordon, luckily his knee was down, fumbles the ball. Heck, even Russell Wilson had that ball come out, and luckily he was able to recover his own fumble, jump back in there and get on top of it. That was key as well. Our ball security is terrible. These things come down to coaching, and then on top of it, you have to worry. And maybe all these, I've been against this, but maybe all these people jumping in and saying Hackett needs to have his play calling pulled off, and whether it be Outen or Clint Kubiak, whoever it happens to be put in charge of that. Maybe that's true, because I'm telling you, there's so many mistakes up and down this throughout this team. There needs to be some focus at some point.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that we're at a point where we need to try to make some changes, or make a culture change at some point, because right now we are not performing to the expectation, not only of the fans, but just of what's on paper itself. When the season started, I was very, very excited, because I was like, man, we got a good roster coming into this season. It's young, it's fresh, and we got a veteran quarterback that's a leader, has won a Super Bowl. He's going to go out there and he's going to do something for us. I was excited. I was thinking that we were going to see, a Matthew Stafford or a Tom Brady like season come in and win a Super Bowl the first year. Right now, I'm just hoping we make it to the end of the season with as many injuries as we have. We might not even have a team by the end of the season.
And we have not enough depth anymore. I think Bulls is probably out for at least 4 or 5 weeks, if not longer.
Yeah.
And then Calvin Anderson just is the only one that can play on left tackle.
Yeah.
So
not bringing Mutai into the left.
No.
Well, and the funny thing is, I mean, literally heading into this season, at least I was, and I think a lot of Broncos country is feeling a lot better about the depth that this team has. But injuries have just decimated us out of any type of depth that we have. Any type of depth. It's just amazing, do you guys have any answers for this? Because this is not just the Broncos. I know that we're pretty dinged up, but NFL is getting injuries left, right, and otherwise. Any answers to why this is happening, or do you think this is a Broncos problem? I know that we've racked up a few over the last few years, and we've had the same, strength and conditioning company, I guess you could say, or coach. Anything there?
I'm not 100% sure, because, like you said, Keith, it is happening across the league right now. And I don't know if, we've been shortening practices and the number of practices that they can do, the number of preseason games and everything else in between. I don't know if it's being beneficial. I think we're seeing more injuries in the season than, these minor little things that we were seeing before. Not minor injuries, just less major injuries, I think. When we have the more numbers of practices and the longer training camp and then more preseason games, I think it gave those players, I think that was very important for those players. And it gave them the ability to go out there and take some hits. Not everybody's playing at 100% in a preseason game, and they're starting to build up to that game speed. once the season starts, it's full go, and these players are going out there and they're trying to take each other's heads off. And at this point, they're taking each other's heads off, like we saw with Tua, like we saw with Russ tonight, and seeing just our other players, Browning went down with a on his wrist, and it wasn't even, I didn't even see much contact on it. Like, it wasn't like he went and got driven to the ground or anything like that. So
he landed on it.
Yeah. No, I don't understand. I don't understand why, we're supposed to be seeing less injuries, but with the amount of practices that we have, I think we've been seeing more injuries, if anything.
Yeah, obviously, like Facebook users are agreeing with you, less preseason games and adding extra regular season games. Yeah, I think that especially down the stretch, we kind of saw that even last year as teams were getting hurt down the stretch as well. It's amazing to me. And honestly, I thought, it was a few years ago they came out and they said they're going to do all this new helmet technology and it's going to get a lot better for concussions and the whole 9 yards. Concussions this year have been off the charts. I mean, right off the bat, we have Hines, the running back for the Indianapolis Colts, who, I mean, these head injuries that they're getting hit. I don't think I've seen guys stumble around like this, like him and Tua and the like, for years. It seems like, if anything, we've taken a regression with these new helmet technologies. I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Leather
yeah, go back to leather.
Leather cap.
There's something to be said about the protection that you gave yourself when your only protection was that skin of leather. I imagine you didn't go in head first on too many plays like you see these guys who now go in, right?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like in the preseason, you saw in the practices, they're all wearing bubbles around their helmets. It's like, okay, so no helmet contact even in preseason or practices or anything like that, really, because they got these giant bubbles around their helmets. They're not playing like that in the season. So that first time they get hit, they're getting jarred. They're definitely getting jarred.
Hey, our cousins over there on K&K kind of brought that up, and they brought up an interesting point. The K&K show, if anybody ever wants to tune in, great show, by the way. Anyway, do we just go ahead and we put those bubble helmets on all the time, regardless of how ridiculous they look?
No.
I don't know. I don't know. For player safety, I don't think it would be a terrible thing.
I mean, why not, Albert? You just don't care for the look? We can put the logos over the top of those beautiful pads.
I don't know how heavy those things are, but you put an extra 2-3 ounces on top of your neck. I think you will get even more injuries, especially the way they are running, jumping, and that kind of stuff. It is extra weight on top of your neck. I know this. I had at least 20 concussions in my life, and the last one was really bad. So I know a little bit about head injuries.
Jeez, man, 20, man. How are you racking up head injuries like this, man?
Car accidents, soccer playing. I used to be a soccer goalie, so.
Oh, very good.
That's where you get a lot of them.
Okay, that makes a little more sense. 20, man. I'm like, that's a little bit out of the ordinary for the average typical male, man. Holy cow. Oh, thank goodness. Matt chiming in saying Browning said he is okay. I hope so, man. Like I said, wrap that thing up. Even if you have to cast it, I think you'd still be all right, man. But
yeah, we had another update here from Matt as this post-game stuff is going on. Bowles' injury is is believed to be serious per James Palmer, and it looked pretty serious. He was slapping the cart around and it looked pretty upset, having the helmet over his face and everything, or not the helmet, the towel over his face and everything else. So he looked like he was in a serious amount of pain. So quick recovery to Garrett Bowles there, and hopefully he'll be okay, and maybe we'll see him maybe near the end of the season. I'm not 100% sure at this point.
Yeah, one of the reports that we got from one of our RMSN hosts said that they were actually having to stabilize the ankle in order to get X-rays for Bowles, and if that's the case, that's not good. That's big fractures there if that happens to be the case. So
Yeah.
It looked really bad, just the way that ankle was turned sideways. He got rolled up on. It doesn't. I wouldn't expect anything good. In fact, I would expect he's probably done for the season, especially an offensive lineman trying to come back from an ankle injury. That's usually a long-term process. Big guys.
And all the force is on that ankle. That's where all the power comes from.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah. No. Well, gentlemen, I think we've kind of beat this one to a dead horse. What are some of the keys to next week's game? What are some of the biggest things that you see, Keith, that we need to really focus on? I asked Albert earlier. I want to get your opinion on it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a simplified offensive plan, but these guys need to get on the same page and know where they're going, when they need to go, where they need to go. It just seems like sometimes we're a little off schedule. If we need to simplify this, simplify it. I would. I love the pun intended. Broncos are a dead horse. Since you said not to beat a dead horse, but it is. It's been a terrible run. Defense, stay strong. We're going to need you, but offense, they need to turn this around. They need to get on the exact same page. I would advocate for a play calling change, but again, I don't think that's going to happen until we actually hit our bye. So survival versus San Diego. I think that's what it really comes down to, and just hope for a 3-3. See what comes out on the other side of that game. I don't have a lot of hope right now. I'm sorry, man. Honestly, there's two things that should be key though. Dulcich and Ojemudia should be coming back. So when we talk about corner help, I know that Darby went out. So hopefully we can get Ojemudia back, and then Greg Dulcich, man, that's going to be huge, 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 in my opinion. We've been missing a tight end. Hopefully that can be the key to getting the ball spread out among these wide receivers, opening them up and giving opportunities to Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy as well.
And the bully Belly will come back too.
Yes, Miners.
Yeah, no, I think those are some great things that we have coming back, especially like we were saying, being plagued by all the different injuries, having those guys come back and hopefully bring a little bit more light to our offense and to our defense, and having the ability to go out there and take care of business.
Yeah. Albert, what do you think?
Yeah, I think one of the things that needs to happen is a little change in the lineup. Russell Wilson got sacked 4 times, bullied around, and especially on the right side. I think it starts with Cushenberry. He is the weakest link, and then Fleming is not helping much either. So, if Minus coming back will change a lot. But I think let's try Glasgow in the center we can try it at least for a game and see what that brings.
I'll bring one last thing that Jody has been talking about quite a bit, and just because you brought this up as well. If we're going to go ahead and dress guys, key guys, then let them take the field. I mean, tonight Billy Turner was dressed. For all intents and purposes, I was expecting to see a performance by Billy Turner tonight. Wasn't on the field at all. So, again, man, if we're going to dress these guys and have them available, get them on the field, man. I'm done with this. Either that or just bring somebody else in who can actually support this team. We need to get past that. If we can get if we can get some of these key pieces back, like Turner, like we get Miners in, maybe we start moving around this offensive line. The protection has got to change completely, man. It continually went downhill. It's going to be key to what we can do in the future, especially against the Chargers.
And have you heard anything about Jewell?
I haven't heard anything more on Jewell.
No, I haven't heard anything else.
That's another key one.
It was just a knee injury. That's all I knew.
Yep, and Alex Singleton, I felt, has been stepping up as needed, but he's not the same as Josey Jewell. Josey Jewell has really stepped up. I wish Victor was in here because I'd have to give him a little bit of a bad time. I mean, literally. I mean, Josey Jewell, you gotta admit, man, he's stepped up. I think a lot better, a lot more than what most Broncos country really anticipated heading into the season. So
he was missed in the second half.
Yep.
Big time.
Yeah, definitely. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you, Broncos Country, again for coming out and watching Time to Ride with us. We really appreciate all of your support. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Go Broncos.